Whenever you're ready. We good?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Yeah? Cool?
Yes, sir.
So are we recording? So is the tape running? Yeah. Tyler's known this for too long. Like some people don't know like when the line is where I'm actually asking the question, and when I'm just like, trolling. And I was like, I know you're bullshit. Anyway, so I want to make one quick note about that armbar before we move on to the next thing. I spent 11 minutes explaining that armbar, and then I missed, I would say, probably one of the most important details, so I had to make this correction a couple times.
Except you're following.
No, guys, don't try to make me feel fine. Oh,
Fine.
what? No, don't applaud. Guys, come on. Jeez, guys, you don't need this.
I like that humble.
So, something to think about with this armbar is, can I get you like on your hands, please? Okay, basically what's happening, I'll pick this arm up. What's happening here is I'm making like a structure, right, with my neck, and then just kind of turning and collapsing the elbow into that structure, right? Does that make sense? So if I am in this space at all, that's going to hinder my ability because there's like a pocket I'm trying to fold it into. It's like I'm making a bridge, and then I'm attacking the bridge through the middle, right? So when I get to this spot, right here, if my right shoulder is kind of underneath of me, then it's sort of like, where's the finish? You make that sound sometimes. People are like, what's wrong with that guy? Right? So I want to think about like taking this shoulder behind me. And that's what's going to give me that little extra bit of pocket to squeeze into. It'll be nice to Don's elbow, please. This one scares me. Right? So if you were finding yourself here and you're like still seeing the ceiling, and you're like, it won't work, coach, jiu-jitsu doesn't work. I want to get this shoulder behind me and attack. Okay? So that's on me. That's one detail I didn't cover. Does anybody have any questions other than that about that technique? Anything? No? No? Excellent. So we established kind of what's a strong option of kind of getting the ball away once again. If I kind of tried my initial posture break and I just like thud, it just lands like a stone, right? The momentum stops, I have to create momentum. So again, we started with the idea like if he settles his weight somewhere, it's not somewhere else. So if he settles his weight in his hips, his upper body's easy to move, hence why this teleport armbar works. Okay? So really what we talked about in our first technique is what if I try to make a big movement happen and it just like stifles right away, or gets stifled right away. Okay? What if though I try to make a big movement and I make like too big of a movement? Okay? So for example, what might happen is, and what we're going to work next, is what if I go for, let's say, that armbar pendulum situation, and maybe I get a little too excited doing these spinny things, and I lose the arm. Lose the arm, guys. Let's say I'm here. Grab you. Okay, I'm all like, I'm exercised. I feel like I'm in shape. I'm good. I go for my armbar pendulum, and it's like, oh no, and he pulls the arm out. And if I don't do anything, he postures up. And he gets his arm free. Now I'm here. Look at this. Like a dummy. Terrible. Like, disgraceful. Okay? So, like, I want you to think about, you guys know like when you're like, whenever you're setting up like one of them like inward closet things, and they got like them poles where you press the little button in and it slides, and it's like different heights, and you release like it's like notches. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Your fingers stacking.
They get your fingers all right. Like you're setting up like an umbrella on a deck or something. Like the little buttons you push in, and it's like your guard kind of wants to work like this. Okay, where's the notch that's going to catch? I'm creating big movements. Something's going to catch. Okay, so if I create a big movement, essentially what you would say towards the leg trap side in that direction. So in this case, it would be what, counterclockwise. I'm just going to follow the logical chain of attacks to whatever the next thing is, angularly speaking, in that direction. What do I mean by this? Well, if you look at it like this, right? So parallel we have, and we'll go into this more when we get in, as we start having our opponent get farther and farther away from us. Parallel is where we have the attacks for like the flower sweep and all of this, right? Okay. Then we start going. Perpendicular, we have our pendulum sweep. Super perpendicular, so it's like you see how my head's going closer to the knee, guys? I have my arm bar, even more perpendicular, say you pull that arm free. I have my omoplata. It's right here. So the omoplata, guys, is where my leg catches the armpit, the back of my hamstring catches this armpit, and I lock. Okay? Now we could go right to the submission, right? Theoretically, we're rolling, and then I stop right here, and I try to pummel my arm out. Oh my goodness, please come up to my elbow. But that might be hard. And the other thing is that in order for me to build up, I have to stop our momentum, right? Well, here's the thing, guys. So we go back a little bit. I'm here, right? If I'm already going this way, why stop? And I just keep that roll going. You see what I'm saying? You guys with your initial semester, we talked a lot about this omoplata roll. From here, we have plenty of options. If I want to be conservative, I can back step and take position. If I want to be froggy, sorry, John, rotate this way. Rotate this way, rotate this way. Excellent. If I want to be wild, as I roll him over, I lock my feet under the shoulder, and I sit. And I pinch my knees together, and push his wrist to the ground, just like that. It's the lever of the gods. Right? Put it all together, let me get you back in the car. We're just keeping this momentum going. So I was going. I pulled him in, I went for my pendulum sweep, I hit that wall room. There's my sweep. You see what I'm saying? It's right there. And wrist lock. So just to go over the mechanics of that real fast, so that we all kind of know where we're at here. For those of you that have practiced that omoplata, you should be familiar. But for those of you that have not, can you grab it please? In the omoplata. So what we're working here is, let me get that leg. I'm here, and then what I want to make happen is I want to extend this leg forward, like the one under the armpit, to kind of stretch Don out, and kind of, we'll go back, take it back up to your knees. Can you build this up, please? Yep, thank you. And as I'm doing that, I'm kind of stretching him to the outside to pull his hip on top of my body. So I have the sleeve grip, I crisscross, and I pull his hip on my body. Now, guys, I just literally extend my body and roll like a log. So you see, I get this foot under the shoulder here. Here's my lever with guys. So in essence, principally speaking, what's happening is I'm just keeping this disc turned, right? But mechanically what's happening here is as I catch the armpit, I'm extending forward and pulling that knee over. Once again, same principles, guys, because can I get you tabletop? Trying to pull Don's knee over top of me when his weight's on his heels would be very difficult, but as his weight goes farther and farther forward, this leg becomes lighter. You guys see that? Can I rotate your head towards Chippy, please? Right here, trying to lift his knee. It's difficult. The farther his weight goes forward, the easier that leg is to lift. So we're just distributing weight. Right? I get his weight going forward, I pull that knee over, and I just literally, each and every moment, invisible opponent, I'm just here, and I just roll. Like, I'm telling you guys, literally just crisscross your feet, turn your shirts backwards. Anybody? John? Crisscross? Sorry. Yeah. Extend your legs and roll like a log. Okay? Again. So one more time through that. Oh, actually, one more quick note for the advanced, more experienced students in the crowd. We'll talk about this more later, but I just want to touch on this idea. Okay, I'm here. Boom, boom. Okay, let's say he settles back. Reverse directions. Not too worried about that today, but the point is like, okay, I'm trying, so we go back. I'm trying to roll him this way, and he puts all of his weight right. Now he's a post for me to press off of. We'll get into that when we get into our flower sweep, but I just want to plant that seed. But without that, boom, boom, boom. I'm here. You're so froggy, crisscross the feet underneath the shoulder. Do you guys see what I'm doing? I feel like my back's to everybody. Crisscross my feet underneath his shoulders, sit on my heels, pinch the knees tight, and just push the wrist to the floor. There's a lever back. I also have like a shoulder lock, wrist lock, arm, a finger bar, thumb bar. Does that make sense, guys? Excellent. Thank you, God. You want to say anything about it? Let's partner up. 1, 2, 3.